We see a lot of content on social media saying that men are avoiding getting married. Men are having a transformational shift in their mindsets when it comes to long-term relationships. Do you wonder why this happens, though? Why are more and more modern men not understanding women? Is it just because men and women are now too busy making a living in this day and age where the world's most developed economies are not doing well? Or is it because they're being influenced by extreme woke ideologies that are confusing them of the concept of a long-term commitment and partnership? Why has marriage become such an alien idea? Let's deconstruct marriage and courtship. The purpose of courting is marriage. Courting is part of an entirely different process from dating. Courting is intended to lead directly to engagement and then marriage. Courting is not a prelude to dating. If the intention is or isn't marriage, why would a man court a woman to get eventually to intimacy when that woman has previously provided intimacy to other men without all that folderol? The woman who expects to be courted and then married must be a virgin, or at least have a very low body count that indicates careful prior judgment in choosing potential mates. Dating and courting are two different processes, and women can't leap back and forth between them with any presumable success. Because men have to attain resources in order to acquire what they want from a woman, it's always a business transaction. Do you ever see movies or TV shows set in the Middle Ages where men offer women gifts and the women would not take the offer? It's because taking the offer was an agreement, either for a relationship or intimacy. The variables needed to gain a woman are the same variables needed to buy a car. You size up your options, consider the proposed features of said items, and determine whether or not the suggested offer is worth the proposed cost. Essentially, what is my ROI, or return on investment? You have to offer more than a cook, a housekeeper, and a hooker, because a committed relationship will cost a man more. As for the aspect of taking time to know a lady and understand her values, if we are of the same kind or not, then courtship is important, and if intimacy will bring a blurry perspective for her, then that will also make her give me wrong perspective of what I want to know about her. Thus, it is good that we remove intimacy from the relationship, so that we have a clear perspective to show each other of who and what we truly stand for and believe. The issue of basic common sense to put women at a higher value than men, which is the rhetoric of everything she's saying, that aspect alone I don't agree with. Other than that, I will not like to just know a lady within some few days and start being intimate with her. There must be time to build intimacy and understand each other's values as long as she stays loyal on the process. Otherwise, she has already revealed a poor sense of values. This isn't an issue exclusive to feminists, but is part of all human psychology. As human beings, we tend to feel entitled to things that we have, regardless of whether we deserve them, and we have a remarkable ability to rationalize why we deserve things with fuzzy statements that sound logical but aren't. We often hold contradictory beliefs if both benefit us personally. Courting was part of a male-as-provider tradition that feminists oppose. Yet women benefit from these old rituals. For example, the men paying for dates, so they rationalize why it should continue even as they've thrown the rest of tradition. All women deserve to be courted is a meaningless statement regardless of your values. It's a functionally worthless statement no matter how well-meaning it is. When it's something that requires the time, energy, and resources of other people, then thinking someone deserves it is irrelevant. I could say all men deserve to own a Ferrari car, but where does that leave us? Who's going to give every guy a Ferrari? Who's going to supply a guy for every unwanted woman? Virgin or not, men tend to lose respect for you once you give it up, especially if you're fast with it, even if you are both looking for something serious. A single woman has every right to wait if she wants to get to know the person. I wouldn't say wait a long-ass time, but I wouldn't want to give it up fast either, because then that man will respect you less. Simply put, men marry for intimacy, social value, feminine comfort, and purpose, which is to be a provider. But when they don't get intimacy, or they don't get that warmth and comfort they need, they start to avoid it. They start to avoid marriage when they don't really need to be a provider, because women are providing for themselves. They're CEOs and government leaders. They're decision makers and policy shapers. They're earning in the 6 digits and more. Now, I'm not saying that I don't support or appreciate women being in leadership positions. I totally do, and good for them. But when it comes to marriage, the changing roles of women and men have led to the changes that now exist in the concept of marriage. Previously, men and women married at a marriageable age when the woman was in her fertile prime and needed a man to start a family with. The man at that time was expected to provide for the woman, give her a home, and help her raise the children. Now, when the woman does not need a man to provide for her and does not want to have children in her fertile prime, she chooses to spend that time chasing the corporate dream that the woke feminists shoved toward her. She chooses to climb the corporate ladder throughout her 20s and most of her 30s. And after the age of 35 and even up to 40, she suddenly realizes she has hit the wall. She realizes she probably cannot have babies, and that makes her frantic and desperate to find a man to settle down with. On top of that, she realizes that all the men who flirted with her and wanted her over the last 10 years have moved on, are financially settled, and living happily married lives. So she realizes that men would rather be with younger women who are fertile and not too busy chasing their corporate dreams. And that's when it hits through the roof and she starts going on an anti-man narrative. But what about men? You see, before all of this, men didn't realize what women who had hit the wall really wanted out of them. Men in their late 30s would get married to these women and realize that they just wanted a partner to have kids with. The divorce rates increased. More and more men lost their rights to see their children and had to pay alimony on top of the assets such as houses and cars to these women. They realized that women are hypergamous. This means that women will always date up in socioeconomic ladder and will most likely monkey branch off to be with wealthier, more sociable, and more valuable men, throwing the concept of loyalty right out the window. And so, this created a transformational shift in the hearts and minds of men who saw women for what their nature was and decided to go their own way. Men are now avoiding marriages because they don't want to lose their resources. They are avoiding marriages because it's just not a good personal investment anymore. Men would rather marry someone young and in her fertile prime than marry someone their own age or someone older than them. All in all, today's women have alienated themselves from modern men by being unavailable, and even if they're available, it's just not worth it for men to invest their time, resources, and energies into being with them. It has reached the point where, in my opinion, feminism no longer serves the purpose it once served in achieving gender equality when, as you are aware, women wanted to vote, own automobiles, and hold jobs. They have that now. But in my opinion, every movement needs to attain its goal or come to an end. The issue with feminism, however, is that it has evolved into a poisonous form in which it has transformed into a supremacist movement hell-bent on figuratively destroying the Western world. It is destroying nuclear families. Men are avoiding getting married. Women are evolving to be masculine. Males are evolving toward femininity. We can go on, but men have moved on. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. And let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.